This video will show some of the many ways you can customize forms in Origami Risk. Here you see an admittedly silly new claim form. You'll note at the very top, customized formatted instructions. These can be formatted basically however you need. Next, you see a bunch of required fields. Claim number can be left empty and Origami will auto-generate it. The other fields need to be filled in. Here you see two examples of default values for fields. The report date is defaulting to today, but it is editable in case it was really reported yesterday and we're just getting around to entering it. The carrier is defaulting to travelers and it is not editable. Maybe that's our workers' comp carrier and we want to make sure it's entered. So we set it as default and not editable. Another way to customize a form is with tooltip instructional text. This can be customized when the mouse hovers over the blue icon. Additional instructions can appear. Here you see an example of making fields conditionally required. In this case, street, city, and state were not required. You might not know it, but if you enter the city, you really ought to know the state. So as soon as city is populated, the state becomes a required field. Below that, you see an example of formula fields. Maybe we're tracking the dates that a supervisor reviews a case. Maybe we want supervisors to review them at least every 90 days. So here you see, if the case was reviewed today, the next supervisor review gets automatically filled in 90 days in the future and is read-only. We don't want people changing that. Below that, you see an example of a checkbox that's a toggle field for an entirely new section. If we check the lawsuit filed box, now we want to track a bunch of other information. So the litigation management panel appears, but you don't want all those fields to appear on a non-litigated claim. So when unchecked, it gets hidden. For text fields, if you're concerned about how long the field can be, Origami can keep track of how much data you've typed. We have a rash of employees with really long names, so I want to make sure we have enough room. Origami will keep track as you type. Another thing you can do to forms is have custom lookups. Maybe instead of typing in the claimant, we just want to look it up from our employee list. In this case, when I select the employee, Origami automatically pre-fills fields based on the employee record. We get the claimant name, the location, the employee number, social security number, and the hire date. And here's an example of cascading actions. The lookup filled in hire date. Because hire date and lost date are populated, the years of service field, which is a formula field, can do the math and say, Linus had been working for us 6 years as of this accident. That is a dynamic formula calculated on the fly. Another thing you can do to make entering data easier is what we call a watermark. Here you see instructive text as a watermark for the loss description. Once you start typing, it goes away. And if you like, text fields can include formatted rich text as well. And of course, what form wouldn't be complete without a silly cat picture? This is just a small sample of the customizations possible with forms in Origami Risk.